Hi, and welcome back to Football Made Simple.
Xavi Hernandez has won his first silverware with Barcelona as manager, and it couldn't have come in better fashion, with a dominant 3-1 win against Real Madrid thanks to goals by Lewandowski, Xavi and Pedri, with Benzema scoring for Los Blancos. But how did Xavi's tactics allow Barcelona to be so dominant in and out of possession? Let's take a look. And we'll begin with Barcelona in possession. From Barcelona goal kicks, Real Madrid were pressing fairly high up, with Benzema often being joined by Vinicius. With Busquets and De Jong often forming a double pivot, Kroos and Modric would look to push higher up, whilst Camavinga would look to track the movements of Pedri between the lines. And this Real Madrid pressing shape could be effective if Vinicius timed his runs from out to in well, so that the pass to Araujo was still cut off. But on the occasions where he moved in centrally too early, Araujo could be found by Ter Stegen, drawing Mendy higher up the pitch and dragging the rest of Real Madrid across. And here we see just that, with Vinicius and Benzema ready to press the centre-backs, whilst Modric picks up Busquets and Toni Kroos is on De Jong, whilst Valverde and Mendy would then have the scope to pick up the full-backs. But open play was much more interesting. And as expected, Barcelona looked to attack with the front five when possible, with Dembele holding the width on the right hand side, whilst Balde provided the width on the left, allowing Xavi and Pedri to be in the half spaces, with Busquets and De Jong forming the double pivot, whilst Araujo's more defensive positioning meant that he could easily be the third centre-back when required. So it was that 3-2-5 that Xavi loves. And Ancelotti would have been well aware of this, so he looked to drop Valverde into right wing back, which we've seen him do quite often in past encounters in big matches, so that Real Madrid could match them up man to man in this line. This would leave a midfield three of Camavinga, Modric and Toni Kroos, whilst Vinicius would take up a floating role on the left hand side, where at times he could tuck into midfield, but could just as easily join Benzema to make it more of a 5-3-2. So Valverde has taken up the position as the right wing back, leaving a rough 3 in the midfield, with Vinicius and Benzema just ahead of that. But Real's defensive shape wasn't the best, and it was taken advantage of, particularly down Real's right hand side. Barcelona were able to cause Real Madrid problems because firstly, Xavi wouldn't always be pushing high up into the half space, but were just as comfortable dropping deeper into a midfield region. And in these instances, Carvajal was looking to remain touch tight to him, so he could easily be dragged higher up the pitch, and this would leave gaps in the backline that could potentially be attacked by a third man runner. This wasn't helped by the fact that Barcelona's shape was extremely fluid, with Xavi, Lewandowski, Pedri and De Jong often switching positions, so Real's defenders could be dragged out of position, increasing the odds of these gaps being found by runners. So Barcelona have a front five, and some rotation has occurred as Lewandowski's in the left half space, De Jong up front, and Xavi has dropped to be the second pivot alongside Busquets. So this time it's Lewandowski who drops deep and draws Carvajal towards him. And this has created room in the backline that Xavi can look to attack. He gets into a promising position, leading to Lewandowski hitting the post. At times we did see Carvajal instead remaining deeper and Valverde coming in onto Xavi, although this wouldn't really solve the problem because now Balde would be making runs down the outside to potentially be found. But in the defensive phase, Modric's role was constantly exposed by Barcelona, where initially they had a rough man-to-man in the midfield, with Vinicius and Benzema potentially picking up the other centre-backs. When Christensen got onto the ball, we would occasionally see Modric break rank and push high up right alongside him, hoping to increase the pressure on Barcelona. But the problem with this, with Camavinga and Kroos coming across, is that they could potentially be outnumbered, and this is because both Xavi and Pedri, whilst they were initially high up, could drop in easily to be the third man, so Real's pressure could be played around. And once a man got between the lines, they were now running at the defense. Christensen receives, and Modric is immediately drawn out. This created a passing lane where De Jong could now be found. And with Camavinga having an eye on De Jong, now Pedri can run to receive the return ball, and Barcelona are now running at the defense. But even in deeper situations, where there was an emphasis for Real's midfield to be compact, Modric could still be drawn out of position, even if Christensen wasn't involved. As now it would be De Jong moving deeper to the left-hand side with the ball, drawing Modric into the press. This would leave a tiny pocket of space in the midfield, that either Lewandowski or Xavi could drop into to receive the ball. And this caused problems, as if Carvajal now came to confront him, it let men make runs into dangerous positions inside the box. De Jong steps deeper into midfield, and again Modric is drawn higher up the pitch. Busquets is found, and could potentially have played the ball into Xavi, who has quite a bit of space in that pocket. And in fact we see this in the lead up to Barcelona's second. Christensen is again on the ball and Modric is drawn high, and with Busquets having been free, Kroos looks to close him down, but he's too late, and this time Busquets is able to find De Jong in between the lines. So now Camavinga is 2 versus 1 down, giving De Jong a little bit more space, and as we can see, Carvajal had moved high onto the dropping Xavi, and with he and Militao committed onto De Jong, Xavi can then make the run into the space, and Lewandowski taps home. So when Camavinga came off in the second half, and Valverde moved into the midfield, things changed slightly, as instead of the midfielder going to press either De Jong or Christensen, it was now Rodrigo from out wide who would take up this role, allowing them to clog up the centre a little bit more. But the press was a key part of Barcelona's victory today, so what exactly did they look to do? Barcelona were also looking to press high from the goal kick, and much like Real Madrid, it was Xavi who would often come alongside Lewandowski in the press, and Kroos was often the man looking to receive, and Pedri would follow him, so that they had a man-to-man situation, much like it was when Real were on the ball. Dembele would take up this position, where he could help cover in the midfield, or move out wide towards Mendy, with Balde also being ready to press Carvajal. So, as the game went on, Real were forced long more often. And in open play, Camavinga took up a role that Casemiro used to play for Madrid, which was that in possession, he looked to move much higher up the pitch, to allow Kroos and Modric, who are both elite progressors, to be the men who would receive from the centre-backs to then look to push the team forward. And often in this match, Kroos was the sole progressor, with Modric slightly higher on the right-hand side. And a key tenet for Xavi in this match was to try and shut down the supply to Kroos, as he is the metronome for Madrid. And this role was often assigned to Pedri, who would spend very little time in deeper regions, but would instead follow Kroos wherever he went, so that often it was more of a 4-2-3-1 in the defensive phase. So Camavinga is looking to push higher up, and the Barcelona midfield is a 2 of Busquets and De Jong, and a 3 with Pedri looking to tie up Kroos. We even see this shape in the lead up to the goal, as we can see the 4-2-3-1 with Pedri looking to tie up Kroos. Busquets is aggressive on Camavinga as he drops and is able to win back the ball. And now Barcelona transition quickly, leading to the goal. And when Madrid was struggling to get the man advantage in the midfield, Benzema began to drop deeper and deeper, and we did see it open up gaps in the defense when Koundé was following him deeper. But surprisingly in this match, Vinicius was unable to make the most of the space created. And this is one example where Benzema has drawn Koundé higher, and Vinicius potentially has space to attack, but doesn't make the run in behind. But this shape could be risky for Madrid in the transition, as their best defensive player was high up the pitch. So, if Barcelona were able to win the ball back, they would now be running at the much less mobile midfield duo of Modric and Kroos, and they could be gotten past, allowing Barca to transition from defense to attack much more efficiently. And here's one such example, with Kroos and Modric deeper. There's a turnover and Camavinga counter-presses, so there's space in behind. And Pedri gets past his man fairly easily, and Barca are running at the defense. If you enjoyed this video, you'll like this video, a tactical comparison of 2 of the greatest midfields of all time. But overall, for this match, it was a dominant win by Xavi's men, who looked comfortable from start to finish, meaning Xavi earns an 8 for the tactical score, whilst Madrid were generally poor tactically and lacked intensity, especially in the first half, meaning Ancelotti earns a 4. As always, not every aspect of the game could be covered, so drop anything else that you noticed down in the comments below.
I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, you might enjoy the content available on my Patreon. Not only does Patreon help to support the continued production of content, as I am a one-man team, but it also gives you early access to videos that will come on the channel. You'll also get exclusive videos, get to vote on polls, and so much more. And it's cheaper than ever, no longer having a tier system, so everyone on the Patreon gets access to all the content. So head over to patreon.com/footballmadesimple to check it out.